Hey, what's going on, guys? Dave from Wake Up It's Football. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you guys want, you guys can check me out on Facebook and Twitter. I have links down in the description below. But today, I'm going to talk about an interesting subject in the NFL, and it's having a stable of running backs. And the reason why I mention it is because if you're a casual fan, a lot of casual fans ask, a lot of good questions. And some questions were raised this last season, or in this off season, when the Redskins drafted a few more running backs when they already had a successful season at the position with Alfred Morris. And it really made me want to answer some questions here. So the reason why teams always add running backs is because the average lifespan of a running back in the NFL tends to last about 2 to 3 seasons. So you always need to have somebody at the position. Now, like the Redskins, let's use them as an example. Alfred Morris, let's take a look at his rookie numbers this last year. He had roughly around 1,600 yards, 13 touchdowns, average 4.8 yards per carry. That's phenomenal stuff for a rookie, and not to mention, here's the biggest thing of it all, they drafted him in the 6th round. He's a humble guy, I really like him. But the point is, he had a great season, and he finished in the top 5 amongst all running backs in the league. Why draft more running backs in the 2013 draft? Well, for first and foremost, Mike Shanahan loves to bring up running backs. He did it with Terrell Davis. He did it with Clinton Portis, a couple other guys. Now he's doing it with Alfred Morris, and he knows what he's doing at that position. He found a couple of guys he liked in the draft, and he went with them. So not really a bad thing to always have guys at the position. And a thing that fans don't understand is you're not always going to have a running back break off a huge run in for a touchdown without getting touched. They're always going to get tackled. They're going to get hit. They're going to get banged up. They're going to have mileage on them. Eventually, the tires are going to wear out. So you need to go into that mindset every season. All right, we need depth at the position. Who's our number 1, who's our number 2, who's our number 3. Another example of that is in Seattle. You got Marshawn Lynch there. Everyone's, Marshawn Lynch, another guy who finished in the top 5 in yards this year, or in 2012. Well, they have Robert Turbin there at number 2, who they drafted in, I believe it was in the 4th round of the 2012 draft. They drafted Christian Michael in the 2nd round this year, who I actually happened to interview. If you guys want to check that out, a link will pop up here somewhere. But the point is, they have, I think, 3 solid backs on the team. Well, once, what happens if Marshawn Lynch gets hurt? They're going to need to bring in one of those 2 guys to start for him. And I think Turbin has that build. Robert Turbin has that build that Marshawn Lynch has. Christian Michael, I think, could be a breakout performer if he can, get the some of the arguments and all the off-the-field issues that he had with his coaches at Texas A&M. But if he can keep his head on straight, I think he'll be good. The point is this: they have a stable of backs there. Another team, I wouldn't say necessarily have a stable, but needed to have a power horse back, needed to have a guy to bring in that's going to be their solid number 1, is Cleveland. The Browns brought in Trent Richardson last year in the draft, 1st round, and they didn't really have a solid number 1 guy there. They had Montario Hardesty, they had Brandon Jackson. Those guys aren't really number 1. Brandon Jackson's been in the league, I believe, for like 6-7 years now. He was Packers' leading rusher in 2010 with their Super Bowl run. Montario Hardesty has really been banged up, injured here and there. Hasn't really gotten enough playing time to see what he's all about. And they actually brought in this offseason, they brought in Miguel Masonette out of Stony Brook, who some of the guys on ESPN are really hyped up about. I believe they traded for Dion Lewis from the Eagles. So they got 5 backs there right now that are, have something where you can talk about them. But Trent Richardson, without a doubt, had a solid rookie campaign. He's going to be their number 1 running back, but they always need to have a running back there behind him. Another example of this was 2008 with the New York Giants. They had Ahmad Bradshaw, they had Derek Ware, and they had Brandon Jacobs. They called it Earth, Wind, and Fire. and they were doing pretty solid with that three-headed punch there. Last example for you guys. This is a good one. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with Marcus Lattimore, who was just drafted by the 49ers in the 4th round. The 49ers had a lot of draft picks in the 2013 draft, and I believe they could afford to take a risk on Marcus Lattimore. Marcus Lattimore came out of South Carolina. Could have been the first running back taken if he did not really mess his knee up. He got tackled really bad, really nasty injury, and a lot of teams didn't want to take a chance on him early in the draft. Well, the 49ers could afford it since they had the picks. And the question I need to ask you guys is, what happens to Frank Gore in the next couple of seasons when his tires start to wear out? Someone's going to need to step in there. And they have a lot of backs as it is right now, and they add Marcus Lattimore, who could take over as the number 1 back in the next few seasons. If he can rehab his knee properly, he can start making the proper cuts. San Francisco, I think, did the right thing in drafting Marcus Lattimore because they could afford to do it, and they're looking towards the future. That goes to show you, drafting best player available. Was he the best player available at the time? It's arguable, but I think he probably was. The point is, not always drafting based off of need, drafting based off of best player available, and I think that's what the Niners did there. Anyway, the point is, you always need to draft running backs because the lifespan of a running back is too short, way too short in the NFL. I want to know what you guys think. Throw your comments down below on the whole subject of drafting running backs, having a stable of backs, and whether it's good to have 3 solid running backs or 1 good back with a couple of decent backups. That's all I got for you guys today. I'm out.